I was going to put this little idea on the PigCake Magic Academy, which you could find linked below, but I decided, you know what? I think this appeals more to the general PigCake community. It's not easy being a virgin and constantly percolating with little dumb, stupid ideas and ways to optimize things and concepts for card tricks. But alas, I'm here for you guys as we all share a very common problem. As you may or may not already know, in the world of card magic, there exists a thing called a false cut. A false cut is any cut that's designed to look like a cut, however, does nothing to the deck. This is another example of a false cut, something that leaves the deck in the exact same order that it began. And traditionally, there's a very common one that we call the Frank Thompson false cut that looks a little bit like this. You cut some piles on a table like this, and that effectively is a false cut. Now, I'm a huge fan of it. I've been doing it for many, many years. It leaves the deck in the exact same position, and it just looks like a series of cuts that looks like what you would do if you were cutting a deck. But to me, it seems like most magicians, including myself, perform it a little bit too quickly. It's always a move done quickly and fast like that. I'm not a fan of that. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Ah. 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 Slow it down, baby. Maybe cut the cards, have a conversation. Sir, has that growth always been there? Oh, that's your penis? Oh, whoa, whoa. Might want to wrap this card trick up soon then. I'll tell you what, sir, I want you to take the cards and why don't you give them a... And then look at that. I've already done the movement. Instead of doing this action like this, that might look a little bit fancier, you slow the move down and it looks like you're just dropping packets of cards on the table. And here's what the action looks like broken down. Firstly, we're going to execute a swing cut. So we're going to swing this puppy over with our forefinger. We're going to lift up with the forefinger and hold the cards like this. We're then going to take that upper pile and place it in our left hand as we bring this one here, but we actually stick our little pinky in there. You see, my pinky's in there holding a break. So both halves are separated, with this lower half being the original upper half. When you want to carry out the bulk of the false cuts, you're going to bring in with your right hand here, lift up on the cards momentarily with your right hand. So I'm lifting up on the cards above the break momentarily, not too high, but what I'm doing here is I'm just separating the piles. I'm then going to use my forefinger to separate another portion of cards, but here I'm not lifting them up too much. I'm keeping it on the deck. So right now, this is my current situation. After you've separated, you're going to bring that lower pile that you've just made and put that on the table. The perception being that that pile should have come from the top of the deck. So that in action just looks like this, that you've apparently dropped a pile of cards from the top to the table. You're then going to take the remaining cards that are above the break and drop those on top, and then take all the cards that are left in your hand and drop that on top of the whole situation. So by slowing this down and adding that cut, that first cut initially to this procedure, rather than adding that to the actual original cut, what you do is that you enhance that illusion of cutting the cards in piles to the table. In the original handling, you're swing cutting 2 times, but then you're dropping a pile on the table, dropping another pile on the table, and then dropping the remaining pile. It's not consistent. With this handling, the swing is not an overt action. It's a minimal action just to facilitate that pile being placed on top of the deck. So you're not doing it in an overt fashion. It's just being done by the properties of the move to allow you to get to that bottom pile or the bottom portion of the original bottom half of the deck, because that's what needs to get on the table first. Then this right here was the original middle of the deck that you're dropping on top of that, and then this was the original top. So you've essentially done nothing. It's a small thing. It's a tiny little difference, and you might not like it, but to me it adds a little bit more credibility in the cut because it just looks like you're dropping cards from the actual top of the deck onto the table. Whereas with the original Frank Thompson, you're swinging, and then you're dropping. Here, you swing, you pause, then you drop. You don't even have to swing, by the way. You could do one of these. You could do one of these. You could do an undercut and then hold a break that way. So then you could actually carry off with the action. You don't have to swing. I'm just saying to make it look like, well, you're not a magician. Too many times with these cuts and these things, you look like a magician. Well, most of the time you look like a mentally ill virgin. But the point is that you want to do cuts that it looks like they would do. And I've seen people cut piles of cards to the table because they can't mix a deck. So they just cut piles of cards to the table. I was playing poker recently with some people and people shuffled the cards like this. They did one of these because they can't do the riffle shuffle and bridge. So you want to fool them with actions that look like they would do it. So some advice at the end of the video. Boy, this right here, I've actually gotten a couple of these nylon straps for my watches recently. testing them out. I really enjoy the look of this. I don't like the look of the pink watch with this one, so I got one that has a pink stripe that hopefully should be coming later today. They're very inexpensive, and the good part about this is that, well, they're easy to replace. They're very easy to replace. Once you put on the pins in the back, you could just pop this one out, put the new one in, and it's no time at all compared to the other one where you have to have a little screwdriver and you butt it out. Not a fan of that, but I've been playing around with these little nylon ones, and I'm gonna get one for my my Seiko. I'm gonna get one for my Seiko that hopefully is gonna make all the ladies go, "Whoa, dude, you're very unique. Let me sleep with you."
I see you again, when 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 I see you again.